Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence, and thanks for joining me as we speak with a band today who are performing a date in the islands. It is Saturday, September 11th at Pipeline Cafe. We're fortunate to get a call from their gifted drummer, who, along with his brother, has been recording and releasing albums over the past decade. Their most recent one, Sci-Fi Crimes, features brilliant cover art designed by their bassist, who happens to be their brother-in-law. The record is on sale for just $5 all month as they celebrate their 10th anniversary at their website. They've toured this summer with another band that we were fortunate enough to speak with earlier in the year, Shinedown, and drummer Barry Kirch. And it's a pleasure to welcome for a conversation of his own, Chevelle's drummer and brother of Pete, Sam Loeffler. Aloha, Brother Sam.
Hey, man. How are you?
Thank you for taking some time. I'm really good. Thank you for asking. How about you?
Everything's great today, man. Yeah, no problems.
We appreciate you being willing to take a few minutes for us here.
Yeah, man.
You are doing a tour that is right now on the road. You guys have, what is it, Utah or something you're in tonight?
We're in Boise, Idaho today. We have a day off in Utah tomorrow, yeah. We're actually just finishing up the what we're calling the Carnival of Madness tour, which is probably going to be an annual thing. Maybe not so much with us, but the tour itself. So, yeah, we've been out touring on Sci-Fi Crimes for, almost 18 months now. So it'd be nice to have a few days off.
Yeah, I was taking a look at your tour itinerary. It is staggering, all the gigs that you guys have been doing. That's Shinedown's tour, right?
It actually belongs to the company called Indigood, which is our management company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is, the inaugural year, so they put all of their bands, all 5 of us bands are all managed by the same company.
I get it.
So, yeah, they thought they would try it out on us first to make us the guinea pigs, and then so next year it will be other bands, of course.
Oh, that's happening, right. Okay, so not even Shinedown, so I get it. It's from the management.
Right.
That's cool. Yeah, actually, my buddy are you tight with the 10 Years guys at all?
Yeah, great people, great band.
My buddy, do you know Mike Mahar, MF, the sound guy?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
He's a buddy of mine from college. I've known him for like almost 20 years.
Oh, really? That's great. Yeah, he's a great guy, man, and they're a great band. We've had a lot of fun with them on this tour.
It's cool. It's nice, everybody on the same roster. So what's your favorite moment on the road that this summer when you think back some of these cool big venues that you've gotten to do?
Well, I don't know that there's necessarily one moment, but certainly like we've made some good friendships. I know I have, and also being out on this run, we're out with Seven Dust as well, and they're actually the band who first took us in 1999 on our first, really national tour outside of the 3 states that sort of border Illinois.
Sure. So that's a nice coming full circle.
It is. It's been really nice to sort of get to know them again. And today is actually our last day on this run, so we move on to do some other things after this, which is great. But it's been a great run.
That's awesome. I'm glad that it's... are you tight with the Shinedown cats?
Yeah, they're all really good people, and they've always been supportive. And we actually have done 2 full tours with them now. So, yeah, we get along great.
Barry's a fantastic drummer.
He is a fantastic drummer, and he's a good guy, and it's nice to, be with a band that takes care of everybody, too, which is good, because how it's supposed to be. That's how we all came up, You have bands that don't deal well with other people, and you have bands that are great. So it's good that, we've all learned the right way.
That's cool. You're in good hands, too. You got a great management company.
Yeah, they're good people.
Yeah, they are. A lot of pros, without any doubt there. Something that's certainly on the minds of a lot of people out here in the islands, Sam, is you guys playing here. Now, just for the sake of everyone listening, can you kind of go through your own personal history with Hawaii, like visits starting when?
Well, I mean, this would be our first, so... As
a band, it's the first, but you yourself, have you gotten to come here on your own?
No, I haven't, and that's the thing is that our career basically has been, we're in our basically onto our 11th year now, and since we travel for a living, we haven't been able to take vacations and do anything to really see a lot of places. So we don't get away very much. So one of the the things that you can sort of take advantage of is having shows sort of we're basically staying for 7 days, even though we're only doing one show, and it's what we should do. I mean, it's a place that everybody should go to many times, and I hope that this is going to be, the first of many trips.
Right on, dude. And so do we. That's cool. Yeah, I was combing the Honolulu rock history books, and I didn't see anything from Chevelle, so I know there's going to be a lot of really happy campers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great, man. I think it'll be packed, and we're going to do a super long set, which is where we've really been at, especially when we don't get to places very often. Like, we were in Missoula, Montana last night, which is, not a lot of people go to Missoula. There's a couple of vague references to it in movies and books, but, it's not a place that everyone knows. So we had a nice long set there last night. It was great.
So when you're doing places that you typically either haven't been before or rarely get to, you tend to do a longer set?
Yeah, and especially since they're headline shows, so we are able to get 18 songs without having any trouble. After about an hour and 45 minutes, we start to burn out. It's just it's exhausting.
Yeah, it is. Doing what you guys do too. You guys are really hard hitting and you have an incredible sound. For a lot of people who aren't familiar with it, they sometimes think, "Oh, that's Tool," and you got to say, "No, that's not Tool." They're influenced by them and they sound like them. Was that a band I know for Pete, it's an important band. For you, was that an important group?
I think that they've affected rock music a lot. I mean, probably as much as say Pink Floyd did when they were in their day. They're a very important band, I think, to all of us. When we were developing our sound and stuff was actually before we knew about that band. It was before they had put out any real records or anything. So it was, I think the similarities do kind of happen in Pete's voice. He has, at times, his voice does seem similar. You try to differentiate yourself, have your own sound, and you do end up wearing your influences on your sleeves a little bit,
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely not. And Alice in Chains was a huge influence to Pete, both as songwriting and as sort of his style for singing, as well as Depeche Mode, which may be surprising to some people. But strong singers is really where he gets his most of his influence. So.
Oh, he has a really nice sound. It's unique, and you guys have such melodic, catchy songs. I love Letter from a Thief. I love Jars. I think there's a real, there's a unique, you do have your own sound, and there's nothing really wrong with being affected by your influences. It just seems like it's apparent in that case with your brother.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, we wear influences on our sleeves, and that's how we're attracted to music in the first place, because there's something in it that we recognize.
Yeah, no question, dude. No question. And for people who are unfamiliar with Chevelle, I just encourage them. It's repeat listens. The hooks really start coming out in your songs. I mean, there are a lot of hooks you guys jam into one song.
Yeah, when you're writing a song, I know that, there's a lot of people that are songwriters out there, and everyone has their own style of doing it. But when we go back to a song, as we piece it together, we look at each part individually. Is the intro interesting? Are the verses interesting? Is the chorus interesting? And is there a real bridge? Is a bridge, is it escalating? Is it elevating the song? Is it actually going somewhere? Is it a song within a song? And you have to look at all those things. And I think it does happen in some songwriting where somebody will end up with sort of one good part or maybe two good parts, and then they sort of connect that with something that is, isn't as interesting. And I think then when that happens for us, we pull back and we'll hold that song until we can come up with the right part to make it interesting. And that's why we don't end up with 30 songs on a record, and choosing which are the 10 best or so, because we spend so much time on each song individually. And it's not rocket science. We're not saving lives here, but it is our art, and it's very, very important to us that we love every song when we have to be up there and play it every single night.
I think it's outstanding to hear that the breakdown, I guess, of how it works, the genesis of a tune, and there will be several hooks. It'll come together. You'll have almost a song. I'm kind of paraphrasing you, but there will be something missing. So rather than just slap it together as is, you kind of shelve it until you get that missing link.
Yeah, I read this thing from I think is Tom York from Radiohead. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's...
Yep, that's his name.
Yeah, and he was talking about Pablo Honey and how the record label sort of pushed that record out, because of the one song, of course, and how he felt like he didn't have enough time to spend on those songs to make sure that all the parts were right, to have them go to the right places, and that he felt that that record was really unfinished. And as an artist, that must just be it must be a brutal feeling. I hope that we never have to deal with that.
Yeah, no question, huh? That whole when the corporate world becomes part of it, or the band becomes so huge that there's this real pressure to get another piece of product out there real quick.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think that we're feeling a little bit of that pressure right now, but it's all in, everyone has our best interest in mind, but our label is like, hey, what do you want to work on next? What are you excited about? So, but it's good because they're being supportive, and that's what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I concur. How ironic that your brother Joe leaves the group and you end up with another family member joining. It's an unusual story. Give us some background.
Well, it's less of a coincidence than people think, because Dean actually we've been friends with Dean for almost 18 years, and we've played in bands together, and lots of shows where he was playing in one band and we were playing in another. And so we've always worked with him because he is a true artist. He's an amazing drummer. Everything I ever learned that was good, I learned from him. And he's just, to be able to pick up the bass and professionally play it it's a testament to just how his brain is, working. And to be able to have that happen was really a dream come true. And we were never in a position where we ever wanted to fire anybody. But when my brother Joe left, it was, he had quit. That was the fourth time that he had quit, and it was past its prime. And when we asked, Dean to do it, he was the only person that we thought to ask. And it's been great. He adds so much to the band musically, but also, in the direction of the art. He, like I said, he did this record cover, and he's done some posters for us, some T-shirt designs, things like that. So, it's all in. He's really interwoven into every part of the band, not only as artistically, but as a business as well.
I think that please, when you're speaking with him, if it's not too much to ask, pass along to him my high praise for the album artwork. I think it's fantastic.
I will. Yeah, I will. He's great. So we get him to do a lot of cool stuff, and it's great that he's such a good sport.
Well, let's talk for just a second about his artwork, because it's no joke, dude. It's an age, and I don't have to tell you this, but it's worth saying. There's so much has been done already. It's very hard to do anything provocative. Not that that's what you were shooting for, mind you, but your album artwork is provocative. It's really hip. It's happening. It's the kind of artwork that endures. It's like some of those 70s album covers when me and you were a little kid that are going to last forever. Is there an interest on the part of the band or Dean with extraterrestrials?
Well, the artwork itself, I know people are obviously listening to the radio so they can't see this, but really what it is it's a take on it, and essentially it's an open field with some trees in the distance, a flying saucer coming down in the field, but skeletons walking towards it. So really, it was sort of tongue-in-cheek with the name Sci-Fi Crimes, that's how it all came together. It dealt with the idea that, say someone says, I've been abducted, or I dealt with ghosts in my home, in my work, whatever. And so we kind of made it's a little bit of a joke, being that it's sort of a 50s-esque flying saucer with skeletons and stuff. None of it really makes sense coming together, but it makes sense in that it is original, and it is, if you think about what is a science fiction crime, there's so many things, and I think it's just sort of a new term,
Oh, it's such deep artwork, though, dude. And I'll make sure when we put this the replay of this on our website for on-demand action, I'll have a link to be able to get the record, but certainly a picture of it. That's cool how you put it. I thought it was kind of tongue-in-cheek too, but at the same time, something you said there, it's original. It takes on a life of its own.
It does, yeah. And I mean, and certainly people who have had those things, to deal with personally, they think they're real. And I'm not saying that they're not real, but it's just a whole nother take. And I just, it's cool to have something different, and it's difficult to sort of carve a new path. And when people talk about, a band, referencing aliens, it's not very original. But in this way, I felt like it was a different take.
Oh, and totally original. I mean, I don't know all of the history of people referencing it, but it was just cool the way you did it, the way the album cover. It's like a real painting, Sam, because it has, it brings me back to being in college and going to like Museum of Fine Art in Boston with this in our Emerson College class, and having to like look at a painting and study it, and there becomes like you build a storyline in your head that goes along with it. And so as opposed to a lot of album covers, which are just an album cover, you tend to benefit, I guess, because it's a piece of art.
Yeah, and it is actually an oil painting. It was originally an oil painting.
Right, yeah, that's what I was reading. So yeah, high five to that cat. Dean is the man.
Yeah, he is.
Yes, he is. And give your sister a plug. I've never seen her name. What's her name?
Oh, Natalie.
And Natalie. How old is Natalie?
Gosh, man, 28?
Okay, so Dean, and how old's Dean?
30-something, 35.
Cool. Very cool. Is Natalie going to come along for the trip to the islands?
Yeah, we're all bringing our families with us, which is great. So, yeah, they'll even have their little girl with them, which is really cool.
And are you going to be going to other islands or just staying here on Oahu?
Man, I have not been making plans yet, so we really got to do that. We are done on this run in like 3 or 4 days, so we got to start making plans when I get home.
Well, try to just to seed it in your mind. I was saying to Nick, try to, if you can, be on Oahu. That's where Honolulu is, and that's where you're playing. If you can just do a day or two here, it'd be great to have you guys possibly come by the studio, maybe record a thing.
Cool, very good, man. Yeah, let our people know, and we'll hook it all up.
Yeah, no, I certainly will. And when I think of the fact that you're a drummer, I'm a drummer too, Sam, and it's awful hard to let a drummer go without talking drums for a moment. I'll tell you who my 2 favorite drummers are, if you'll tell me who your 2 favorite drummers are.
Sure.
You start.
Well, gosh, who are my 2 favorite drummers?
It can be more than 2 if you can't narrow it to 2, but that's just like an idea.
I can tell two interesting drummers that I really love. Matt Cameron from Soundgarden, and I think he's totally original. And then there's this guy named George Hurley who actually got me into playing drums from a band called the Minutemen in the 80s. It was a punk band.
Yeah, Mike Watt was band. Yep,
Mike Watt's first band, yeah. So, yeah, without a doubt, like those 2 guys are probably my biggest influence, and they're very their own style. You can tell it's them when they play.
How interesting, man! You've dug like 2 real unusual ones up.
Yeah, very different, and different styles to themselves.
Is that because do people always ask you this, and you've tried to come up with a really deep answer to that, or?
No, no, those are really the people that I was really into. I was a huge punk fan and everything, but the Minutemen, it's like, if you know punk at all, very, very different from everything else. Punk, you really think, mohawks and screaming and, leather jackets and studs, and the Minutemen were very much the opposite of that. And then Soundgarden, where they were sort of coming out of the whole metal thing, they wrote the record Bad Motorfinger, which is one of my top 3.
Dude, Slaves and Bulldozers, brother.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I mean, such a cool record. Just a great band.
Do you like that jam? That's my favorite on there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's a good.
I really have a favorite, but that record is one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. All right, well, my 2 are older than yours, but my 2 would be John Bonham and Cozy Powell.
Wow, yeah, I can totally see that and understand it. It's funny, too, because I'm just now working on a bunch of shuffles and stuff like that, because I just never really spent the time, because it fits a little bit less into rock drumming than it does in other things. And so playing the Bonham stuff, is, lots of cool stuff, lots of cool shuffles.
You're a savage monster too, so no question about that. I definitely appreciate your drumming. Those guys, that's cool you point that out about Bonham. He has like so many little creative sounds that he makes.
Yes. Yeah, the ghost notes and all that stuff that's just really, it's his own thing, and you can tell it was him.
Yeah, no, it was. I'll leave you with a final question. Your relationship with your brother, your brother Pete, I'm talking about, because you guys are really the core of the band, and you are the band to most people. The relationship that you guys have, kind of describe it for me, if you will. I mean, I'm assuming it's not like the Gallaghers from Oasis.
No, Pete and I have been essentially best friends, probably since the time that we were maybe 12 and 14, which probably it's right when we started playing music together. And I never really appreciated the fact that when he was a kid, like a child, he sung all the time. And when we picked up instruments and realized that, oh my gosh, we didn't want to play covers, all we wanted to do was write music, and how it was like that was what he was born to do. And I'm just very grateful that he found out at an early enough age.
That's cool. So you're really tight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We do just about everything together. Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm impressed. Yeah, you sound like a really cool guy. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Brother Sam, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys when you're here. I hope this wasn't too much of a hassle having to do this today.
Oh man, it's great. It's no problem. I'm actually on in 45 minutes, so I probably do have to go, don't I?
Thanks. I appreciate it, Sam. Very cool of you, and I'll let you go. I look forward to seeing you when you're here.
Okay, cheers, man.
You too. Be safe. Aloha.
Okay, bye. Aloha, this is Sam Loeffler from Chevelle. You've made a great choice. This is a show worth listening to with my friend Dave Lawrence. Aloha, this is Sam Loeffler from Chevelle. You've made a great choice. This is a show worth listening to with my friend Dave Lawrence. Hey, Brother Dave, it's 4:20 time.